Hey YouTube, Fender 6, well, Squier 6. Yeah, so this is actually my second time with this one, not my second time with this exact one. The one that my pal bought was just hella buzzy, hella buzzy. I wasn't happy with it, so he sent it back and got another one. This one's slightly better. Yeah, so the Fender 6 is a weird one. So we've got a 30-inch scale, same as an EBO or like a Music Master Mustang bass, but it's got 6 strings on a sort of, is this a Jaguar body? So Jaguar pickups, you know, the ones that have got this sort of metal, looks like a saw blade on the side, which I need to try and get some of them just to have them in another guitar, because they're quite cool. But I don't know why more people don't buy them just because they look cool. It is meant to make some difference about focusing electrical fields or something. This one, the last one had a tremolo bar. This one, the bar's not in the bag, so I'm hoping that Ian didn't just has it at home and didn't give it to me with the bar on it, so I can't do any wibbliness on it. Yeah, so you'll know these from Jack Bruce used to play one, but most famously the Beatles had one, a red one. If you look at when they're doing that, is it a promo video on some TV show for Hey Jude, George Harrison's playing it, and there's various pictures of John Lennon playing it. I think, to be honest, the reason that they were, when you got Paul McCartney was playing the piano, somebody else had to play the bass, and Paul McCartney's bass is left-handed, so I think Fender just gave them one of these at the same time as George got his Rosewood Telecaster. It was like, I think the Fender idea was, oh, there's this band of Beatles, let's they're not playing Fenders, let's give them a couple. So they gave him a Fender 6 and a Tele. I don't know, I think they might have given him Strats as well. I think there was a couple of was it Daphne Blue Strats? I think John Lennon got one and George Harrison got one. So Fender just basically one day at the studio turns out, oh, Fender's giving you these, so that's why there's kind of the bass in there. The idea with this is it's a 6-string and it's tuned the same as a guitar, so it's E, A, D, G, B, E, but it's an octave down. So you know the 4 strings are the same as a 4-string short scale bass, but then it's got the other 2. So the theory there is it's closer for guitar players to play, which, yeah, I sort of get. I don't know, because I've always played the bass as well, so it's like, for me it's kind of something in the middle. It's kind of a weird one. You can sort of see why they never really took off. Maybe for like, for me it feels a wee bit like, see, your sort of surf sound and stuff like that might be quite good. The original use was for, is it called tic-tacking? In the original, like, old country, like your Grand Ole Opry type songs, where you would basically just have a track. There would be many people playing in the band, you know, there would be like 4 acoustics, and one of them would just be kind of going ching, 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 and one of them would be sort of going dun, 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 and then, you know, like very separate parts to get the massive sound. It wasn't everyone playing the same thing. You know, some session guy would be sitting there literally just going and stuff like that, and this was kind of to put in to not overdub, because we didn't get overdub, and then just to fatten out the sound. You would get somebody playing something like this and they would be sort of doubling up some guitar parts or whatever. So I'm playing it, this is it through the bass amp, which again, is it a bass? It is not very loud bass. Alright, strings are very close together, so it's really kind of more of a picky playing one. You can do it with your fingers, but it's kind of a bit, they're quite close together. But this one doesn't buzz anymore. Oh, have I thrown them out? I was given a new set of strings to put on it, because the strings you get on it, like as standard, are a bit thin. I think it's an 80 is the thickest string, whereas the ones that got to put on this were 90s, and that seems to have made a huge difference. I know this because my Fender 6 I made 10 years ago, the Tele one in the corner, the strings on it were honestly, you felt dirty just looking at them. So I put the strings that were on that, thinking I'm not throwing away those strings. These strings are expensive, put them on, and it's now buzzing like mad, so they're just too thin. So basically the strings you get on it are too thin. You need to go to the 90s for the fat string to make it really work. I mean, they work, but it's you have to be very, very gentle with it. You do have to be slightly gentle with this as well, but that's the same with any short scale bass. It's, you know, you can't thump the strings the way you can on a full scale bass. You know, it's that low E pure bang. You know, you have to be a bit more rather than being bang. You know what I mean? Kind of. Also, the guy from The Cure, Robert Smith, used one for some of their big hits with a chorus pedal. I don't actually have a chorus pedal plugged in just now. I do have a guitar amp plugged in though, with tons of reverb on. Should I maybe put more reverb than that on? Nah, I'll leave it at that. So, that's why it's thin sounding. So, we plate here with 4 switches on it. Up is on, it is. So, neck pickup, middle pickup, bridge pickup, strangle switch. So, bass pickup or neck pickup. That's why it sounded really thin a minute ago, wasn't it? So when I had that on, the strangle switch. Just a high pass filter which takes out all the bass. But you do get a very different sound. Even when you do take the bass away, it doesn't sound like a guitar. It's because vibrations. You can play chords, sort of, not. You're kind of alright with the chords. See, the D isn't too bad, but when you're using the, it's the same as on a bass. You can play chords, but you can't play chords the way you would on an electric guitar. The other option for these is to have them, you can tune them like a baritone. I've got an old EBO bass that I converted to a baritone, and I tuned it with thinner strings, B, E, A, D, G, B, E. And when you B, E, A, D, F sharp, B, so when you batter a D, it's pure, it's real powerful and amazing, but you're in a funny tuning because you're tuned to B. I mean, you can play chords, but you have to kind of play them slowly like you do in a bass. You know, well, maybe. It sounds really minor, doesn't it? It's not a minor chord I'm playing. Maybe go for a bridge pickup. For me, that's just surf sound, or the good, the bad, the ugly, or something like that. I used to be able to play that, but it goes dung 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 dung. It's pure amazing. I'll not bother trying to work that out live on the spot. So there's your bridge pickup, middle pickup, both together. It does actually do that slightly stratty position 2 sound. Hi! can't remember exactly how Wipeout goes, but it's something like that, isn't it? There we go for the middle and neck. So it's a tone control. See, I'm having to be a little bit precious with the E string. If you hit it hard, just kind of. But the owner of this bought it because he figured it might inspire him to play something slightly different, and I think maybe that's exactly what it's for. But I just hear surf sound. Try to put the distortion, and then the neck pick up on its own. I actually used to play one of these when I was playing with Jesse Ray. It was a one shaped like a claymore, that kind of looked like that. Apart from it was a 6-string bass. So I managed to play bass for all the songs, funk bass on it, no problem. The reason I used a 6-string bass because there was one song that had a chord in it. Like that. Can't remember what chord it is now, but there was a chord in it. Just that was by huge. It was great because I think Michael was playing synth bass at that point, so I was like, yeah, I can play a bit of chordalness. Can I? No, it's not. I wonder if I've got a. It's not going to fit properly. I wonder maybe if I stick this. Yeah, okay. So a truss rod spanner in there. It's not really designed for that. You need more leverage. Yeah, so put a proper tremolo arm in it. Don't want to break anything. Not that I think I'm damaging anything there. Going to that sort of surfy sound, eh? I wish I had the tremolo arm now. That was with the strangle switch on. really difficult to hear sound because there's so much distortion on it. Count with my fingers, so you can get away with it. Pick. So these things can be, I'm actually going to take that off, and the knob's a bit turny. It's one of those ones that basically just tighten up. Just taking out the jazz bass type loops. Yeah, so a fun thing. These didn't exist when I built that one. When I say didn't exist, you didn't get a Squier one. You could get one, like a Fender one from the 60s, but thousands of pounds, obviously. So that's why I kind of made my own version of it there, which now it's got new strings on it. It's a bit buzzy, but now it's got new strings on it, which are just slightly. Maybe you get away with just see if you just lowered the. I wonder if the way to do it is maybe even see if you just bought an individual string, because the other strings were fine. The A is fine. Just when you did that 90, maybe put it up a wee bit higher, maybe a 95 or 100, which is a bass. What you would normally have. A bad example, but that would be the E string one. That's a 5-string bass. That's why I didn't hit the bottom one. If you're using it as a bass a bit more. But I mean, well built. It looks fantastic. Also, especially if you're it looks quite big on me. I don't think the body shape is any different. I think it is literally a Jazzmaster body. I don't think it's any bigger than normal, but it's a Jaguar. A Jaguar's kind of weird because it's got the massive body, but the neck's actually shorter. It's like a 24-inch scale, so it's like an inch and a bit shorter than a Strat. So because the body's so big and the neck's quite short, it just looks normal, as opposed to this, which has got the big body but it's got the long neck. And it's got the whammy bar. Well, I don't have the whammy bar in it. It's also the fretboard's made of a crazy wood as well. I don't know what it is. It kind of looks. I don't know. Is it? It's or something like that. Or I don't know. It's a different. It's not rosewood. It's a really sort of light coloured, almost. I've seen when you get really cheap rosewood guitars that have been sat out in the sun forever, and they kind of look sandy. It kind of looks like that at first, but when you actually get up to it, it's not all that sort of sandy, powdery stuff. It is. It's a lighter, a light, almost grey. I've seen maple necks kind of look like this as well when they get dirty. But so you got your block inlays, binding, Clussen tuners with a date on it. ICSD 22. So Indonesia Court SD. That's a new lettering for me. I don't know what SD stands for. 22. So it's brand spanking new. It's got the glossy. But I mean, what does that make? Oh, is it classic vibe? What's the other one? SD something modified and classic vibe. So neither of them are SD, made in Indonesia. But it's got the glossy neck on it, which is I so much prefer to the powdery neck. That's my main gripe with this. This has got the this it's got a satin neck. Fuck your satin necks. I like a nice 70s glossy neck, which is what the classic vibes and I said it the other name a minute ago, the classic vibe and the vintage modifieds tend to have. It's just nicer. I think some people complain that it's sticky when you've got like a glossy neck, which I think it depends on the makeup of your DNA, your skin. Like some people have sticky sweat. I sweat a bit when I'm playing gigs and stuff like that, but the necks don't get sticky. So I think it just depends on the makeup of your jeans or whatever. Not big baggy jeans like these, but you know what I mean. Jeans with a G. So there is a wee bit of getting used to playing one of these. It's not just like playing a bass, it's not just like playing a guitar. You do have to, you know, sit down for half an hour or an hour and just work out what it is it does and what it is it doesn't do. And it does things that guitars and basses don't do, and there's some things that guitars and basses can do that it kind of doesn't do. So it's something in the middle, but it's a sort of strange concept. It kind of fits in for me a wee bit like with a baritone as well. It's like you've got a bass and you've got a guitar, they're both awesome. In the middle you've got kind of, although it does do different things, it's kind of not as good as a bass or a guitar. All of them, no matter how good it is, just the actual concept is a bit weird, and what band it is you play it in, you know, it's like you can't really, I suppose you could replace the bass or the guitar with it, but it'd be a wee bit of work and you'd have to be pretty good to do it. Maybe like a White Stripesy type thing where you just get you and a drummer. This distortion pedal, I think you could probably do some amazing stuff with that. Same with the 8-string bass is a bit like that as well. It's kind of, it's great, but you couldn't really have it instead of a bass or a guitar if you were buying these things, and because they're quite fancy and a bit expensive, well, they were up until the Squier ones came out. I'm not sure about the price of these, about $350, some I don't know. I'm just guessing there, somewhere around about there. You know, not pure, not 900 quid. You know, it's like one of those things that if you're going to buy a quite fancy a shot of a Fender 6 bass, I probably wouldn't recommend that you went and spend $1,000. Well, if you've never played one, I would suggest that you bought one of these, see if you like it. If you get on really well with it, maybe later on trade it in and buy the Fender one if that's really what you want. I can't really imagine a Fender one being much better. I mean, the problems that I have with these is the fact that it's just like the strings are quite close together, and the chord thing where you can sort of play. Sorry, ran out of space there. To be honest, I'm kind of finished anyway, but I've got to end it with saying goodbye. The last word I said was all, but I can't remember what I was talking about. Yeah, I was just talking about the general problems with these, but it's not what you're. Yeah, it's to kind of have an analogy that works with a Panda. It's like, yeah, so you buy a Ferrari, and it's like, it doesn't, but I want to take me and 3 of my pals out in it. You can't, it's only got 2 seats. It doesn't do it. It's not what it's for. You take your Ferrari around the Asda car park. I'm sure it's not going to like driving at 2 miles an hour, whereas the Panda's better at doing those 2 things. If you want to look cool and pull the chicks and, you know, if I could drive around the Monaco Grand Prix track, the Panda would be shite. The Ferrari would be amazing at that. So it's one of those things, it's like what it is you really expect from it. But I mean, as I said, Ian, who owns this, is going to, he's using it for a bit of inspiration to try something different. He does a lot of like home recording himself, so I can totally see it. And sometimes, you know, maybe you're sitting there going, up here, got a solo in this, it's like just oh, I could try using this and maybe it'll just give you that different sound. I would go straight for the Enrico Morricone, the Good and the Bad, the Ugly type 60s, because that's kind of 60s surfy type thing is where I would be going with this probably. But then you could, doesn't, just because you've got like a surf type solo doesn't mean it has to be a surfy song. It's like it might go into something else. And also with effects, I'm sure the Robert Smith and the Cure did some stuff on this with like a chorus pedal up full, you know, kind of doing sort of that kind of thing, and it's very different, and it can't be done on a guitar and it can't really be done on a bass either, so you're, you know, find it might be really good if you're in a band like a Leonard Skinner job or something like that, where you've got quite a lot of musicians. You know, you've maybe got 2 guitarists, a bass player, a keyboard player, a drummer, some saxophones, you know, all these things, and it's like suddenly it needs something to fit in. It's like, well, I'm sure if you had one of these you could just nail your little section of the frequency range that's yours, and you can just sit there and if you want to hear how not to play one, look up the isolated bass track for Helter Skelter that John Lennon plays. It's awful. I think he's just taking the piss, or he's just bored or stoned, or he can't hear himself. It's just kind of like that, and it just doesn't need to be there. That knob's annoying me. Just this is something anyone could do on your guitar. See when if you turn the knob either to full or to negative, and it still kind of wants to go a bit further. Oh, it might be. It might just not be screwed on correctly. I'm thinking that the whole pot is spinning behind it. I'm not sure it is. I think it might just be the knob's got like a grub screw in it. I wonder if it's maybe just a case of tightening up that grub screw so it doesn't. It's it's actually the knob spinning on the shaft. Or he said shaft on rather than the. But these are things that shouldn't really be. A great entranceway into setting up your guitars and stuff like that. Just doing wee things like that and keeping it clean. And when you change the strings, make sure these. Well, this doesn't have them, but the bolts that hold on the. Why does every guitar I see not have them? Another thing is that when you change the strings, take the strings off. See these bolts here? Make sure they're tight. Just with an adjustable spanner and a socket. Just make sure they're tight, because so many times they're not tight. That was what I was really impressed with that. I was really surprised by that Donner guitar, Donner Stratocaster I did last week. I didn't need to do that. It's like, my God, a new guitar that I think the reason they don't tighten them up in the factory is because they might crack the finish or something, because it's maybe not dry yet or whatever. So, but the Donner they were actually tight. I was like, it's so rare. Pretty much every new guitar you get. I could say the only new guitar's got that one, but it's got the Clausen style, which they've got like ferrules they don't bolt on from the front. So, an unnecessarily long Fender 6 video. But a fun thing, if you're looking for an excuse to get another guitar, does things that other ones do. You've already got your Strat, your Tele, your Les Paul. What's the other one? SG, a 335, an acoustic, a P bass, a jazz bass. I need another guitar. You get one of these because it's another different thing. The other thing I would also suggest is maybe have a look at the scale length and everything on it's fine for baritone. So if you put baritone strings on it, tuned to B, it would make it more. It's like, here's a guitar, here's a bass. Currently this is sitting here near the bass, whereas if you put the baritone strings on, it'll sit nearer a guitar, somewhere in the middle. But baritone would be closer to guitar, and bass would be closer to the Fender 6 would be closer to the bass. Enough rabbiting. Rock on, catch you later.